Opportunity just to take a short call really from the Māori Party perspective. As other speakers have said, this is an important bill to amend outdated legislation from 1974. But from our perspective, we can say it's more than just getting up to date. It's about, well, if I could say the key to the bill is actually to ensure that security workers are trustworthy, a point made by my colleague Mr. Locke, and to have the skills and training to do their jobs well. And both of these are important. This is a bill which has immediate relevance to security guards, bouncers, doormen, security technicians who will now have to hold licences and certificates of approval with the threat of being penalised by fines for up to $60,000. Mr. Speaker, when I got wind of this particular bill, I was approached by a person who leads a large security firm in Rotorua with basically two concerns. One, he didn't mind the whole notion about some sort of accreditation, but he did mention for the purposes of the Minister that the turnover of the applications was a little bit slow, and that was a problem for him because when he pulled on all of his big, huge security firm, or had to pull all of his workers in from Taupo, Tokoroa and around Rotorua. It was really around Christmas time when all the big festivals are on, the rock festivals, the Ragamuffin Festival, big rugby games and so on and so forth, that they were needed. And so the turnaround, he said, was a little bit slow. So I just mentioned that in passing. But the other thing was, I suppose, his concern was if he had to take on staff for a short period of time and only maybe a one-off job, that they still had to pay a fee and to go through the process of getting accreditation when they might only be going to work maybe once, twice possibly over a period of a year. And therefore it was almost a waste of time. In fact, I think he mentioned that his company had to pay for the fee or that he was willing to take up the costs to assist his workers come on, or else it was a waste of time them even joining. Because the pay that they would get would be basically go out the door from having to pay the fees to get accredited. So I just leave those issues there for the Minister, hopefully who's listening, that would be able to give some consideration to that. So there's a key issue within the bill which appears to have created the most interest, and that is the question of Clause 66, whether to delete it or not to delete it. That particular clause restricts private investigators or employees from taking photographs or making recordings without the subject's written consent. We were certainly sensitive to the potential risk of abuse and unfair conduct by private investigators if the restrictions were removed. But we noted also, sir, that the advice of the Law Commission that Section 52 of the Private Investigators and Security Guards Act currently provides protection for individuals from unauthorised surveillance. So in a sense it dealt with that. We're also interested in the predominant theme of the majority of submissions, sir, which called for a private investigator to shut down cell phones. Oh, no, it was the wrong one, sorry. Private investigators to have a code of conduct and a code of ethics to be established as well. We wanted to ensure appropriate standards of conduct are set and maintain that the power of the security staff is appropriately balanced to ensure the rights and safety of the public. So to know exactly what it means on the ground, I have heard some feedback from the security doorman at the famous or infamous Grumpy Mole Saloon in Rotorua, who have to deal with both the best and the worst of those people in the Waiariki electorate. These doormen say that they already undergo training and registered by getting an NZQA qualifications. As part of the checking process, referees will be asked to describe what sort of person these people are. And the last thing that we want when dealing with disorderly and drunk people is someone who wants to give as good as they get. That probably wouldn't be the best situation. They also have a process of mentoring, so much as new employers are being teamed up with more of the experienced guys, experienced doormen before they gain qualifications. That's important. Dealing with drunks and difficult is difficult at the best of times, but security guys end up, as we know, often being the subject of being spat at, being kicked, having objects thrown at them, and all in the line supposedly in the line of duty. So as a result of this bill, workers will have to provide annual returns to the authority of relevant information, such as recent conviction, and they will have to wear an authorised badge at all times while working, which at least shows the accreditation in a physical sense. But what we are most interested in is to see that there is also a code of conduct in place to ensure appropriate attitudes, such as cultural competency, the ability to work cross cultures, are maintained throughout every aspect of their work. So we are obviously supporting this bill at its third reading, and appreciate the work that's been done by the Minister.